Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to Stop the Idiot. I am the huge one kid idiot, Dave Koco from DAVKOCO.com, and I'm here with my tag team partner of the Idiot Express, Boom Boom. And we have a question from Andy Paps from Facebook. Andy Paps, old school internet infantry. All right, who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling managers? You know what? I have my list right here. I just got to say something behind the scenes. I asked Boom Boom how many people are on Mount Rushmore, and Boom Boom officially said, I'm not allowed back to America. Is this... Boom
Yep.
Boom, who do you want to go first?
You go ahead and go first because I want to hear this list.
All right. I thought the top two were easy. The dynamic duo was easy. Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman. I think like they are I think Bobby the Brain Heenan is number one. Paul Heyman is number two. You know, and the only reason I think Paul Heyman is number two is because Bobby the Brain Heenan was so great and was first. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was like kind of, ooh, this is questionable, you know? So Bobby the Brain Heenan, I think he's the Michael Jordan. He's the Muhammad Ali. He's the GOAT. He's the Tom Brady, if you will. I don't think anyone could argue Bobby the Brain Heenan wasn't the best. Paul Heyman, he's just great at cutting promos, great at doing what he does. I don't even enjoy the WWE product, but if there's a Paul Heyman clip on, I'll watch it. After that, it was tough. I gave number 3 to Miss Elizabeth because to me, she was the ultimate female valet. She was a princess, and you didn't need to do the stupid storylines with her. We just cared about her, you know? She didn't have to, I don't know. To me, she's the queen of pro wrestling. She is like royalty. Not the best pro wrestler, obviously. Maybe not even the best valet. But there was something special, you know, about her. And then number 4, I almost didn't kick out. Not because he isn't talented. Just fat, balding indie wrestlers that want to be like him are so fucking annoying. And he has to stay in character for the rest of his life. And that was Jim Cornette. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I really want to give Jim Cornette credit? I mean, he's just going to yell and say everything's the wrestling fans' fault and wrestling was way better, even though he did exactly what he's complaining about. Like, he's become, you know, a cartoon character just saying the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. But at the same time, he was one of the greatest managers of all time. And, you know, he jumped off fell off the scaffold, was the leader of the Midnight Express, started doing shoot promo type things on WWF and WWE television before that became the norm. So I put Jim Cornette in there. But it's funny how you just getting tired of someone can change your opinion on them and their art of work. And that's my 4. Bobby the Brain Heenan, GOAT. Paul Heyman, you know, Bobby Heenan is Jordan. Paul Heyman is LeBron. Miss Elizabeth is Swoops. And Jim Cornette, he's there. Maybe Jim Cornette is. But yeah, those are my 4. I think those are the 4 best managers off the top of my head. Booms, agree, disagree? Let me hear the list.
I think you had some good picks. I really do.
Thank you.
So I guess I'm going to throw up my Mount Rushmore, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit to be just so that way it's set aside from you. One that I would definitely put on there is the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, Ernie Roth.
Oh, old school.
He was pretty much, when people talk about managers, they're emulating this guy because he set the standard of what a heel manager is. I mean, he started in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation and right around 1971. He managed, I mean, you name it, he managed him. Blackjack Mulligan. He even managed a manager, you know, Mr. Fuji. But before he was Mr. Fuji, the manager, he was Mr. Fuji, one half of a tag team. Managed him. Stan Stasiak helped him beat Pedro Morales. I mean, Killer Kowalski, Luke Graham, Big Cat Ernie Ladd, Ox Baker, Cowboy Bob Orton, He managed them all, and it turns out he broke some barriers. He was actually Jewish, and he chose the name the Grand Wizard because he wanted to snub the Ku Klux Klan. And it also turned out, they just didn't know till after he had died, but it turns out he was gay. And I just found, because I didn't know that, and I was like, oh wow, you know.
Yeah, I
So
didn't know
you got
that.
it.
This was before my time, but great pick, great pick. Go ahead, sir.
Next one I picked was, and this is one that's going to match up with yours, is Bobby Heenan.
Yeah,
Just Bobby Heenan is a guy that just everybody. I don't think he had any flops. When you think about it, like you know, every manager. I mean, they usually when wrestling they put you with people to try to help you get them over, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And not you know just because it just doesn't. There's no chemistry, or there's maybe an issue with either the performer or the manager. I don't think that was ever the case with I don't think it was ever the case with Heenan because I think everybody that he managed was successful. I mean, you're talking, you know, you're going way back to like the 1960s. I mean, he went to the AWA. He managed the likes of Nick Botwinkle and Ray Stevens. He managed. He had Blackjack Lanza, Bobby Duncombe Senior. Made the jump. I mean, he went to Georgia. He went to the World Wrestling Federation. You know, managed Big John Studd, Andre the Giant. Uh, Buddy Rose, Paul Orndorff, King Kong Bundy. I mean, you name it. I mean, he had it and he drove fans crazy. And then he even continued his career as a great commentator. But crowds would pay big money to see him get beat up. In fact, they would even have it to where he would wrestle maybe a couple times a year because they wanted, because fans just were sick of his mouth and they wanted him to get punched for everything that he's done, everything that he said. So, yeah, God had to put him on there.
oh, awesome. All right, who else you got, sir?
Next one I'm going to put on here is I got to give props to the late great Playboy Gary Hart. Gary Hart, primarily, he was from Chicago, but is primarily known for his work in Texas. He managed the likes of Gino Hernandez, the gentleman Chris Adams. He helped, basically was the booker for World Class Championship Wrestling. He created the feud, but he's the guy that you can thank for that feud between the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. He's the guy who did that. He managed the great Kabuki. He managed the great Muda when he came to the United States, the one man gang, uh, Abdullah the Butcher. I mean, he really helped get people over. He was successful everywhere that he went. He even had a stint at Jim Crockett Promotions, well, for about a couple of years. There was the JTEX Corporation, had him, Terry Funk, Dirty Dick Slater, Buzz Sawyer, great Muda in there. So I think he tends to get passed up.
Yeah, it's not
So I had to put him on there. And then last but certainly not least, and this is what I hate about this is, I feel like when you have like this Mount Rushmore and you're really trying to, come up with people, it feels like you're leaving people out, like you're being disrespectful. And this is no disrespect to anybody, but number 4 here is I'm going to pick Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Oh, not a bad choice at all, sir. Not a bad choice.
Yeah, started out in Memphis wrestling, had that feud with Jerry Lawler, which led to, Jimmy, Andy Kaufman coming on, went over to the World Wrestling Federation in 85. You name it. Again, just a who's who of people. I mean, he's managed the likes of Hulk Hogan, Rick Rude, Lanny Poffo, the Hart Foundation, Kamala, uh, the Iron Sheik, Kevin Sullivan. I mean, you name it. I mean, he managed them. Adrian Adonis, the British Bulldogs, not the British Bulldogs, excuse me. Shit. The Dream Team. There we go. So he had a way. He had that microphone. He had that megaphone. He was always, I mean, just driving people crazy. He had just air about him. He could just get under your skin. But like I said, who's who, of wrestling under his tutelage or under his managership. So I put him on there. So those are my four.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing. When it's just top four, you always feel like you're going to bump someone that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad, slowly but surely, pro wrestling managers are coming back. They add when done right. Here's the problem with pro wrestling managers. They add so much to the show or ruin the show. So when pro wrestling managing is done right, it's absolutely amazing. And the guys we listed off today, and so many that the guys and the gals we listed off today, did an amazing job. So many more did an amazing job. But there are some really bad managers out there. And a great manager can make this show a million times better. So if you're a manager, be awesome. How not to be awesome? Pretend you're the owner, act like Vince McMahon, and then basically never get any fucking revenge done to you. Basically, if it sounds like a fantasy that you're masturbating to, you're not a good pro wrestling manager. Fucking words to live by. Anyway, we are KocoSports on Twitch, where me and Boom Boom do AEW watch parties and also stream sports video games. KocoSports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure to check it out. With that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And with that, I am over.